Not bad. Just heading home. How's your day as well?
Very well, very well, very well. Hi,
Welcome.
Jane. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
How did your day go?
Hi, good evening, Koya. Good evening, Titi. How are you guys doing?
Hi,
All good,
Mujiba.
all
How are
good.
you today?
Hope
How
you're
did your
doing
day
well.
go?
Yeah, fine. Thank you so much.
Why did you take us joining first? Wow. Hi, Joseph. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. How did your day go?
It was okay. It was just nice. It was
Nice.
nice.
Do you work remotely? Do you
Yeah.
work on the office remotely? Oh, nice.
Yes. Yes.
Does Jane work remotely? Did you work remotely today from the office?
Are you still talking to me?
Yeah, I was asking Jane as well.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Nsikak. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Titi. How is everyone doing? Great to see
I'm
you.
fine. Very well.
Great,
Thank
great,
you for
great.
joining us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's good to have you. First TSP session ever, right?
Right, 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 right. And I have to commend you. Great, very, very great community you have here, right?
Thank you. Thank you so
Very,
much.
right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, I have a few people on the call. We're going to let people settle in. Bunch of people are on the road trying to get home. We're going to wait for about 2, 3 minutes before we then kick off.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Praise. How you doing?
So, hi Titi, good evening. I'm fine.
Good evening.
How was
How
your
you doing? Hello.
Hi Titi, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how did your day go?
It was a lot, but not bad. I had quite a number of meetings, so
I can imagine. I can imagine. Did you work from the office? Did you work from home? Which one?
from home.
Nice, 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 nice. Hi. Before I call Dara. Okay. Hi, Madonna. How you doing? How did your day go?
Hello, my folks.
Okay, you're muted if you're saying anything. Hi,
Hi, good
Dara.
evening.
Hi, Madonna. How you doing?
Hi, Titi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. How did your day go? Hi, baby.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Such a gentle voice. Okay, if you're just joining in, we're letting people settle in. Maybe like 2 minutes, and then we're going to kick off. We already have our host on this session. But then before I go on to introduce him, I want to wait for everyone to settle in. Have a few more people join in, and then the rest can join us, later in the session. So let's hang tight, get our writing pads and notes, pens, water, so you don't have to stand up, right? Water, if you're like me, get your food, get your dinner beside you, and then we're gonna have fun on this session together. Yeah, and then yes, follow us on all platforms. If this is your first time here, the Tech Sales and Partnerships community is a space that's created to support professionals in commercial related roles. So if you're in sales, you're in partnerships, business development, you are in revenue operations, you are in marketing, every role that is related to commercial, to revenue in the tech space, this is Côte for you. And we have a community on Slack channel where we ask questions, shamelessly from each other, right? Ask questions, get support, make build friendships. Okay, you have this target you've been dealing with. You have a group of people who understand what that feels like, right? And then you need someone in your corner, you need someone to introduce you to someone. You have people on there that can do that for you. And if you have questions, trust me, there are no silly questions, there are no dumb questions. There are questions about the things that you think is the silliest thing, bring them on. And then we also have a channel where we share the opportunities. Right, we have a number of people who have gotten jobs, even without the community's intervention, just by, using the opportunities that we drop day by day in the jobs channel. A good number of people actually, good number of community testimonies. Yeah, so it's a really lovely place to be. And on socials as well, we share really interesting, nuggets, things you could learn from. We also share more about the events that we have. So we do this on a monthly basis. And yeah, so follow us all across, join in the conversations, share your reaction and all of that. It's really a nice place to be. So yes, so it's about time for us to start now. My name is Tizeti at TSP, and I'm going to be hosting today's session. But then most importantly, I have with me Nsikak Asuquo here, who's going to be sharing with us, his insights on today's topic. Today's topic is focused on growth systems for revenue teams. It's 2026, and a lot has happened interestingly in 2025. And a number of trends in different industries, and a new year is starting, right? And we want to see where the conversations, where it's heading, where is it starting, what does growth look like now? What growth was in 2024 is not what it is now. And today, taking us into that conversation is Nsikak. He's a market strategist, right? And he's had decades of experience across the entire African market. Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, a bunch of African countries, even beyond Africa. But then he's one of the African experts that I have in my corner. Okay, if you need someone, so this is cheat code. Go and blast his LinkedIn. If you need someone to give you cheat code, if you also moved into a role, that needs you to have intelligence on different countries, that's your library right there, encyclopedia. So go and attack him. He's had tons of experience in tech, in telco ecosystem, and also trade, right? It's kicking off an interesting venture, in the trade ecosystem, and his experience spans across connectivity infrastructure, B2B commercial leadership, partnerships, Pan-African market expansion, and his career is anchored on building ecosystem that connects technology, distribution, and then people, with a very consistent focus on digital inclusion across Africa. Hi, Nsikak. He's currently, the country manager at Tizeti, Côte d'Ivoire. I am so excited to have you here on the call today. Welcome to TSP. We're very excited to learn from you. And for your slides, if you need me to project from my end or from your end, please let me know. The room is yours.
Titi, that's a lot. My name is Nsikak. I'm your salesman. Hi, everyone. It's very interesting to be part of this community. And ever since Titi told me about the community, it's been great. Like I said earlier, I have to appreciate what you all are doing. This community is really critical for folks in the commercial space because communities like this can help ease your blood pressure, because I can understand the pressure commercial folks are going through right now. And I am part of it, and you're looking at the numbers and you are trying to understand what is really working. and there's a lot of targets everywhere. People are even leaving the space at some point, and there's a lot of confusion. So when Titi reached out to me and talked about it, it was a very interesting topic because it's something I had to spend some time personally to digest deep and do a lot of research across different industries. And I will break it down very simple. No jargons, no much talk, straight to the point that every single person here can actually understand. Thank you. So I will share my screen. I think I have just something little put together. I hope everyone can hear me. Great, great, great. So I'll share my screen. Okay, just to confirm again, every single person can hear me, right? Okay,
Yes.
I think sharing my screen. Good. I'll need like some, maybe just tell me because as soon as I share my screen, I can't really see the reactions and in the chat box. So I'll make this very, very simple. Like I said, break it down really as much as possible I can, and I'll be open to questions. So, like we talked about it, we're asking, where is this growth coming from? What is really happening? The system is scary. People are having blood pressures. It's looking like we're doing a lot of things and we can't really get it out. What's the weather condition for growth in the market? So this is what we want to discuss today and what I will share from my research. And this spans across different African economies and globally too. But critically, most of the peak focus were African economies. So I will share this right now. So first off, we will be talking to, I believe every single person on this call is someone responsible for the revenue of the company, which is really like the heartbeat of every company as we speak. Because if you're doing anything in a company and it does not translate into finance or money, it's a nice to have. Right. So let's have a brief on what is happening. What is really happening now? Growth now feels harder as a company. It's looking very difficult every single morning we wake up. And people keep asking why. You understand that your customer acquisition graph has deepened while you are doing everything that you know how best. You have like some very great folks who are in your team, and yet it is still slow. And sometimes it's blamed on the economic situation and all of that. Yes, these are actually drivers, but let's have a clean analysis on what it is. So the difference is time has changed. We keep the drivers of growth has changed from what it used to be, right? We are now in a different space. And if you're using the old system, the old models of what you're used to in this particular system, the dispensation we are right now, it won't work or it will be slow. This is because now we now have educated buyers. Like the buyer that you're used to now is more educated. So, you know, before now, you basically, what we do is you do a lot of advertisement, marketing, you do a lot of cold calls and all of that. It has changed. The buyer has already done this and made a decision or has an opinion about you before you reach the buyer, which is different from what we're used to before, where you have to go for more reach. So you see, before the old system is get more pipelines, put more pressure, more cold calls, more emails, and all of that. Now it's different. The buyer is educated, right? You can't really control that system anymore. So they do their research even before they come to you. So they have an opinion and they have a list of other folks. That's why I said the channels are saturated. So just while they are talking to you, someone else is talking to them. And it looks like there's a lot of noise in the system across different industries. And your circle to close, like the timeline to close the sale, is now longer than what it used to be. The cold call of 3 minutes to 5 minutes is now looking like 2-3 meetings. That is what is happening. And then we now have more competition in more space. So there are more stakeholders, and then there's variety. So right now, the dispensation is different from before. So now what we are going to really talk about is what and how can we survive in this harsh dispensation. Now, what we're used to was more meetings, fill up the pipeline, keep reaching out a lot more, louder marketing, and all of that put together. You see companies go ahead as getting a lot of AI dashboards, tools, and then the belief system is, oh, if we have all of this put together, we hire more people, people who are experienced. Oh, I have 15 years sales experience across this. I have AI dashboard tools. We're going to generate more revenue. But that's not really what it is. Because the more activities you have and the more tools, it doesn't really translate into revenue at the end of the day. In fact, what companies are facing right now is that they end up having high overhead costs versus the revenue, because more meetings, more people reaching out, and then there's now pressure. People are burnt out. That is what it is. So activity doesn't really bring that, is what people are just running around. So the volume you have on your funnel is just what shows if you have a broken system. Because growth has moved from an activity to an architecture. That's what people need to understand right now. It has moved from activity to architecture. So the volume or a lot of people you have in your funnel is not going to fix that. It's only going to show that to you and show that to the world at large, right? So more meetings, a lot of activities does not translate into revenue these days. So you can hire as many nice people, good hands, it doesn't mean these people are not working or they're not doing a lot or the tools are not adequate enough. It's just that it is no more like that. Things have changed. Now, the next thing I'm going to explain is the effort versus architecture. Before, what we're used to is efforts, right? If you do, like I said, you talk to more people, you have more reach, and then you work harder. People are working longer hours. There's someone working 14 hours. I'm like, okay. And you see they now get burnt out. It is no longer about the efforts, the activities. It is now about what is your architecture. So if you're building systems, it now compounds into the gains, the revenue. And then people now work less, and then there's results. People are not burnt out. Rather, people are now channeling more energy into thinking how they can enhance the system instead of being burnt out from cold calls and a lot of effort put together. Now, what are the symptoms of a broken system? How you know a broken system is you have inconsistent pipelines. So how do I explain inconsistent pipelines? In January, you have more folks, and then you see February, there's a decline. March, it's not a hockey stick, it's just inconsistent. That is how you know your system is broken. And then there's this hero-dependent kind of deals where there is this very smart guy that whenever he puts his foot to gas, he's the one that brings the deal. So you see when he leaves the company struggles, right? That's what is really evident right now. You see, you hire this new sales guy, and then he brings in a lot of people, and the revenue is pumping in, and then he gets burnt out, or the period is not in the mood, or he has something personal that affects him, the company suffers from it. That's exactly how you know your system is broken, when it is dependent on some very smart person in the room, as per se. And then unclear what works. Unclear what works is in terms of when you cannot actually point out what gives you growth. I've had engagement with a lot of folks, and I'm like, oh, so what's really driving your sales and your revenue? And you hear things like, oh, we have billboards here. We see most of these things are the last touch of what works. If you can't pick exactly what works, then you have a broken system. And then scaling. Some of them, you get the great guy, he comes in, he brings a lot of customers, and you want to scale, and then the quality drops, and then there's a problem. So these are the symptoms you see, and you know that I have a broken system. Now, like I said earlier, Buyers are more educated way than before they even say hi, before they ask you, can I know about your prices, before they show interest, they're educated, and then they've already made their decisions. Trust me, when a buyer reaches out to you, they've made about 70% of the decision. They just want you to convince them, and then that's the 30%. So it is different from before, where you have to say, oh, hey, teach me how to do this, and then whatever you tell the person buys it. That's different. That's the new dispensation where we find ourselves now. Like I said, decision happens upstream. Reasons because the problem, the buyer knows his problem, who is going to solve my problem, and he has gone to do a lot of research. He has checked his network, his community. I see people go ahead and post as on Twitter, can you recommend XYZ? And then you see folks respond and all of that. So these things have happened really quick, and they happen really fast, right? And when it comes to vendor selection, it is slow and late because either there are too many choices, and they now have to pick the right person. So while you are waiting for that, you have a lot of people. You see a funnel of 100 people, and at the end of the day, you're struggling to get 10% conversion. This is exactly what is happening. Now, the solution evaluation, this is where most times this is where we are, right? Trying to know what exactly is the main pain point. So the user might have 10 pain points, but there is a major pain point that it's just the right thing to get that person. So this is what I'm saying. It is basically happening upstream. Now, influence. We have to agree that we no longer control these buyers anymore, right? We have to agree to some extent we don't control them as much. The influence is now shaped from the information that is out there. They have a world of their own, right? So the world of their own is basically what they trust right now. So first thing first, accept that you don't control these users anymore. So they have a world. We should now be thinking of how can we shape our company, our organization to fit in their world, right? You see, there's a lot of community perception. Oh, this is what it is, right? Oh, I'll be very one tweet about someone and the person has a lot of influence. Maybe you have some huge followers on Twitter, and then you tweet something about a company, and then you see folks just on that, and then boom, it's a problem, right? So this influence is critical, that we also have to take into cognizance and accept that is what we are going through, right? Now, the shift. Since we don't control this influence anymore, the tactics, we need to understand that for tactics, one smart idea does not solve the problem. It just solves one part of the problem, right? Let me give an example. Somebody brings a bright idea and in the marketing team, and they put it out there. As they put the smart idea there, boom, it works. There's a hockey stick. It doesn't happen every time, and as such, it is not sustainable. So what actually works are actually systems. They need to be a system put together, and then growth itself is not it's not a departmental problem. It's not something you say is the sales team's problem, the business development team, enterprise team. No, it is not a departmental problem, right? That is what sales need to understand. It is a combination of everyone put together. So what I'm going to do right now is we'll start diving into the systems that work together that makes a complete growth system for an organization. So like I said earlier, systems work, no longer teams. It's not a departmental job. It's not the CMO's problem for sales to come in right now. It's not the customer service manager. No, it's not the sales. It is a combination of, it is an outcome of compounding. When systems run, the compounding effect is what causes this revenue growth. It is no longer a departmental problem. Fine. So I'm going to go right into the 4 systems that that actually helps in terms of growth. These are the 4 growth systems, and I'll take them one after the other, and then we can now discuss it. So there are 4 critical systems. I was able to bring it down to 4 and make it clear. 4 critical systems that forms the growth system. trust, partnerships, intelligence, and execution. These are 4 systems that needs to be critically designed by an organization. And then it now becomes a growth system. And the continuous, let's think about it like any normal system. The more each of these systems run together, the result of it is what you see that's called growth. Every organization that is making serious growth or will make an exponential growth in 2026, if you dive in and if you really do a clear audit on the organization, you will find out that these 4 systems are in place. Every organization. And if you don't have these 4 systems effectively running as a system, not a nice to have, then I don't think you're ready for the growth. But if you really want to have growth in 2026, you need to go back and make sure these 4 systems are incorporated in your organization and they are running effectively. Trust. It is a growth lever that compounds. Now, trust as a growth lever is something that compounds over time. It comes from 1, 2, 3, 4, and keeps going. Before, trust used to be a nice to have. I heard someone one time say they get trust over time, and if they have it, they have it. The person was like, trust is no longer a nice to have. Trust is a critical system you have to build within your organization. And over time, trust is actually going to lose your customer. It's going to lower your customer acquisition cost, right? It will shorten your sales cycle. It will reduce the hours that your sales teams are working, and your burnout level for your teams is actually going to be low, right? So if you build this system, it's not you don't have to make as many cold calls and follow up on numerous meetings to close a sale. So it is no longer a nice to have, it is important, because over time it reduces your operating expense, which is the cost of acquiring a customer, your CAC. So it is a critical growth lever that needs to be taken into consideration and importance by every leader in terms of the commercial side of things. Now, trust signals come from different ways, right? You can get it from the leadership, thought leader always out there, community engagement, customer stories. This is the major part that we need to invest more in. Over time, it is going to compound and make sense. Customer stories, customer feedback. If I close a sale today, I need that customer to make noise for me. If that customer can actually do that for you, you have reduced your cost of acquisition. Even your marketing spend reduces. And then you see people strive for industry recognition. This is just like getting what you say, getting verification from the world at large, right? So you can leverage on that. These are just signals of trust that you can leverage on. So it has to be taken out there. Your community engagement has to be on point. At every point, your customers, the customer base you have, as well as the other folks, you have to be out there. Thank God for the world of the internet and a lot of content out there. These are trust signals that will make folks. At some point, it compounds and helps you going forward. Now, what are trust leakages? How do you know that there's a problem? Inconsistent messaging. It's neither here nor there. I think I advised one of the marketing teams in the company what we're discussing. I said, if you're having conflicting messaging in your branding and all of that in the name of trying to separating things, you have some questions that you are not there to answer. So be careful in your messaging. So you walk through. Don't make your messaging confuse the folk, because you might not be there when the conversation is being held to answer those questions. So inconsistent messaging is a big problem. Customer experience. Some folks will say, I don't have control over this. Yes, you have to. You have to strive to have a very good customer experience. If you have a damaged reputation, I said it earlier, just one from an influential person now, you see a company can just go down. Just one. Because he has people who are loyal to him, he has some followers who look up to him. So at some point, we need to look at, make sure poor customer experience is not part of your system when you're building your trust system. We have to go back, audit the system, and make sure that this reputation is taken and invested into. Like, look at it as something that has to be invest into it. And then the overpromise delivery gap, which is another big problem. I understand we commercial folks, when it comes to you need the money, right? You will say anything to close the deal. I get it. It's very common among commercial folks where, hey, we're going to get this done. Oh, we need a dashboard that when you log in, your picture appears and you fly with air. Oh, sure, we're going to get it done. Just make the payment. We need to also understand how to work on this. This overpromising in the name of closing the revenue and we now end up sacrificing the credibility of the organization or the system. It's going to cost us over time. It's the problem. It's either you pay for it now or you pay for it later. So these are the leakages the points we have to look at that actually kills the trust system when we are building it. Now, partnerships. Anytime I talk about partnerships, people look at it, yeah, partnership, you need partnerships. In 2026, very critical. Partnerships are strategic moves, not just nice to have. They are strategic moves. It's the kind of partnerships you have can reduce your staff cost. It can reduce your staff effort. Partnership is leveraging on someone else's trust. I don't know if can everyone hear me, please? Can everyone hear me? Hi, Tizeti.
Yes, we can, clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I really want to stress on these partnerships because it is the major driver right now. We understand the operational expense of companies. We understand the situation now. And you see some people are going into mergers. I still say it, the best thing now is to sit down and audit partnerships. Partnership for me is borrow trust at scale, meaning leverage on another organization's trust to scale, right? One partnership can give you 3x faster in terms of than just one person. Like I'll tell people, co-selling is better than cold selling, right? I don't know if you got that. Co-selling, everybody has an interest, right? You pick a right partner, you figure out the interest the person has, create an interest for the person, and both of you are pushing it. It's better than hiring 5 to 10 more sales experts in your team and increasing your operating expense. So partnerships are critical right now with the economy, like what it is right now. Partnerships. It cannot be overemphasized, and it is not every partner you go into. I'm going to tell you the kind of partners we should look at for us to grow. So like I said, it increases yours almost 3x faster than you building alone. So you can scale 3x faster by closing a major partnership and announcing it. And you leverage on the partner's trust. The partner has a good trust. Oh, it's like saying, I'm building my own trust. Put yours together and boom, we are faster, right? And access to the person's own channels. So the kind of partners that I advise people to go into, especially in our industry, is strategic partners. Partners that have customers that have shared goals. Strategic partners. Technological partners. If it's going to take my R&D team XYZ time to build a system, right, before I now go commercially live, is there an existing technological partner we can ride on an infrastructure and we work together? Technological partners are critical right now in the ecosystem for growth. Rather than building from scratch, can I find someone who I can leverage on the skeleton of what they have or the MVP or whatever it is, and then customize it to what we want, and then we both have a common goal and we share revenue and we move on. And then the last of it I tell is channel partners, extended reach. I will use channel partner. Let me give you a very good example because this is actually something recent. I was talking to someone, we laughed about it a few days ago. I don't know if some of you are following the 21-year-old IShowSpeed guy who is touring Africa, right? We're talking about it, and he was in Ghana and he went for a massage, right? I think that was not, he went for the first massage, which is the normal waterfall massage, which is very known to the culture in Ghana, right? That was there. But there was a second massage he went for where it was kind of a bespoke kind of massage. They got a lot of folks to massage him. These folks announced lately that they have bookings till March 16th. If that particular organization, and I'm just giving that as an example, there were other folks that took advantage of it. He has about 50 million folks, right, subscribe to him. If you were to do a marketing, online digital marketing to get that reach, you would have spent ridiculously. But with that little stuff that was done, that activity, leveraging on it, the extended reach was massive. They are booked till March 16th. That was very strategic of them. So this is just an example. So coming back to what I said, channel partners, who has that reach? How can I say, hey, if you have this number of customers and I can get XYZ% of this customer subscribed to this, we can have some shared revenue. This is just reducing your cost of marketing and the cost of your CAC. So partnerships cannot be overemphasized. And these are 3 partnerships we should critically look forward to close in our organization. So like I said earlier, co-sell, I said it's better to co-sell than to co-sell because you can call. Your closing cycle now is 90 days. You can have 5 meetings, two bi-weekly meetings, and all of that put together. But with just a partner, you can reduce your sales cycle from as much as a quarter to just a month. And you can increase your response rate from about 15% to 65%, statistically. Now, the next system is intelligence, measuring what really matters. So I sit with folks and a lot of growth managers or sales managers who ask, oh, what are you tracking? Oh, you see you have a very awesome AI dashboard. You're tracking the number of leads generated from an ad. You're tracking the emails that were opened, a lot of activities, XYZ. Those are what you're tracking. Yes, they are good for data points, but what I still say is track what really is important. And make like what these are for me, they are good metrics for data, but I call them vanity metrics. What really works? You see some folks will tell you, oh, how did you make this sale? And you say, oh, it was from a billboard. The billboard might be the last touch from the person, right? The radio jingle might be the last touch from the person. And then when you now think about it and say, oh, I think it's billboard and I need to have more billboards across different countries. And then you increase that your marketing spend and it doesn't translate into customer acquisition. And then you are confused. So any growth strategy you cannot repeat, then it's not a great strategy. Whatever thing you put together, if you can't repeat it, that is the problem. So I always advise people to track what is important. Who are the qualified pipelines? Sometimes, I don't know about, I believe maybe other folks will have experience like this, where you see, you have 10,000 people and then Excel sheets flying up and down. And then in 10,000 data of folks, you can't really get about 300 to 400 people. You can't. So it is not about leads. It's about qualified pipelines. The number of actually engaged accounts, and then the conversion velocity. Oh, if I have found out that if we get leads like this, 1 or 2 demos or 1 meeting, and we are good to go. We get a first payment. We get someone asking, oh, we're going to make payment. It's not how many clicks, because you hear things like, oh, I'm not saying these are bad, but for me, I see them as vanity metrics, because when you're tracking, oh, how many clicks do we have? How many views do we have? Yeah, there was this very nice advert video we made and we uploaded it and we had 2 million views. If 2 million views cannot translate into revenue, right? It can't translate from 2 million views to at least 2,000 paying customers, 20,000 paying customers, then it's a vanity metric for me. So these are the things these are nice to have, but the actual metrics we should be tracking in 2026 with the harsh economy we have right now is who are the qualified pipelines. It is easier to follow up on 30 qualified pipelines than having 500 data folks leads in an Excel sheet, right? So qualified pipelines, the actual engaged account, not, oh, hi, I'm calling you to confirm we got your name that you were interested. No, that's engagement. The customer tells you what I want, what he or she wants. You engage the customer. What was the feedback? Did it look promising? What's your thought on it? Those are these are things you should critically track right now and just leave the noise. And then the conversion velocity, like I talked about earlier, we need to understand it. So we can say, hey, if we have 3 people putting 8 hours of work and it takes 3 hours to get this, it should be critically tracked so people are not burnt out. Now, growth signal. What converts consistently? Oh, whenever someone comes from this channel, we put little or no effort and we get a payment. We get a commitment. Now, what we need to find out that particular channel that make people pay. If it's a small channel, how can we make it greater? How can we make it bigger? Or when we get a lead from this person, we find out that we don't stress ourselves, the person pays. Where do deals accelerate from? Where is it coming from basically? Who buys together? Who is that person that, oh, whenever they buy A, they have to contact us for B? And then what is the thing that stalls momentum in terms of our marketing and sales process? These are things we need to track. And they are signals. Now, the last system, execution. This is another system. Some organizations are stuck here and they need to move fast with this. Learning loops at speed. Now, I always say this, they say, well, when it comes to sales, ABC. What's the ABC of sales? Always be closing, always be closing. ABC of sales, always be closing. Now, ABC works when your loops are really put together, right? Meaning, what works, what did we learn from, and move on. Design, execute the experiment to validate the assumption. When it's moved to the next, what is the result? Collect the quantitative and qualitative performance data, apply the learning in the next one, analyze the pattern, identify the key learnings, and move. The critical part here is move. I see some organizations where I have meetings with them and you hear, we're having meetings to analyze the data. Why are you having so many meetings? The data is right in front of them. The data analyst has put it together, and can we just move? And then you have series of meetings. No, it is time for speed. What is working? What's not working? Let us go. I believe some companies say it's how it's structured. The marketing department has to provide insights, and then we move to analyze. If you end up spending a quarter to analyze one thing, and then you see only 4 things are analyzed in a year. No, what is working this week? Can we repeat it next week? Can we repeat the further move? The major factor that makes this is speed. Speed with clarity. Speed with clarity. What is working? Hold on to it, repeat it as many times as possible. That is what I mean by this. Now, okay, fine. Speed with clarity. Move on what matters. Not everything. Not everything at once. I see people assign new departments in the commercial department. You hear there's some companies you speak with. Maybe you go talk to the CEO, like, oh hi, this is the team, this is the new. You see a commercial department having sub departments and sub departments, and I'm like, why do you need all these folks there? Not everything I want. Sometimes you see they create a new department just for some folks to sit down and analyze some things, and then the business is, you hear the company is bankrupt, or the company has gone out and said the operational expenses is high, they couldn't stay. No, not everything. What works, shrink the team to focus on what works alone and what matters. Not everything. Leave the noise. Now, things to stop doing. The random tactics. Oh, I call it shiny object tactics. Oh, this one time it's working. I think this is everybody just want. You see someone who's trying to say something to make it. I'm looking for the best way to explain it. There's some meetings, commercial meetings you go into, and the person is just saying something random, and you're like, okay, this is fine. It happened. So when was this occurrence? And then you're looking at the graph, and you see the graph is like this and this and this, and like it happened in February. Why didn't you apply it in March? And then you say you didn't apply in March because there's an excuse. Okay, so how about April? Oh, no, random tactics is not going to work right now. It is systems that are going to work, real systems. Vanity metrics, I call it the activity theater. Oh, we sorry to say this, but you get these vanity metrics a lot when you sit with the marketing team. They are very good at it. Sometimes you sit with the marketing team, and then in some meetings you are saying nice to have presentations, nice graphs, nice numbers, all this and that, and you as the boss, you're trying to understand, okay, so how much did you spend? How many $1,000? And how much was the revenue at the end of this marketing campaign? And you can't even get 0.5% of what you invested. Avoid activity theater. People acting busy with nothing to show for it, right? And then the hero dependence. Please, 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 please. Every organization should avoid this. It is what is driving. So it's very common. There's this guy they hire, he's happy, when he's in his highs, you see the numbers go up. When he's in his lows, the number come down. An organization cannot depend on this. If it is not scripted, if the system, whatever that was done by the person is not scripted and becomes a playbook that can be repeated even by a new hire, then there's a problem. It has to be scripted. A playbook comes out of it, a built-in system that runs whether he's there or he's not there, whether another company poaches him and gives him a better offer or not. That's why some organizations, one day, once the CMO leaves, there's a downturn, right? And I'm sorry, a lot of folks in the commercial team, they always like that. Oh, if I leave this organization, I can believe I'm going to move XYZ number of people out and we're not going to close. No, if you really want to stay in the long, like if you want to be in business, right? Avoid that. It should be shared information, shared intelligence, shared strategy. If it's very good, the subordinate is supposed to know what he does and how he actually do it, right? Avoid this hero dependence. It is what is very common in the commercial sector. In fact, you see a lot of HR folks sourcing for these people. Now, I was telling someone that, do you notice that when they're hiring commercial folks now, they are hiring the commercial folks based on, so he brings this number of people out of the organization. It's like saying your competitor hires someone to take a certain number of your customer base out. And that's because of, if the system was running, that will not exist. It's like saying you hire somebody from an organization and then you store the growth of the organization for the next, for like, it depends for like 15%. No, it's not supposed to be that way. So avoid hero dependence. This whole is the best in the team if it's in his high. No, please, please, please look into your team. If you find someone who's like that, make sure the person shares the knowledge. So, and makes it a playbook, whether it's there or not. Now, what to start doing? Build systems, build systems, build systems. Repeatable processes. Repeatable. If I need, let me use Lagos, Nigeria. If I have to go to Lekki to make a sale, right? And it is Lekki that it works. It should be something that, whenever we go there, it works. There is this strategy. Whenever we do guerrilla marketing combined with jingle, it should be a process that if it's repeated, meaning it is consistent, it happens in week 1 of January, week 2, week 3, week 4. If it's a repeatable process that works, clearly you see a hockey stick. But when it is not something that can be repeatable, it's like a seasonal kind of situation. You now start having seasonal sales. You now have seasonal numbers, seasonal graphs where you have, instead of a hockey stick, Q1 could be great. People are happy from the festive period. And Q2 is like, hey, I don't think we can start downsizing. Q3, no, that's not good for an organization.
to build systems, and those systems have to be built on repeatable processes. Insight tracking, please, only leading indicators, the real things that work. Reduce your dashboard to 2 or 3 things if they are the only things that work. Leave the nice, the AI, this. No, I get it. Don't overwhelm your team. When you have too many things they are tracking, they get confused. They get burnt out. Pick, at least for this period, right? Pick what works. If it's only 3, they should wake up in the morning and look at these 3 things. If it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 5, only the important indicators should be on the dashboard. Shut off every other thing. Indicators that work. Nice to have, vanity metrics, please shut it off. You can keep it with the data team, right? Let the data team get busy with it. But for the commercial folks, for clarity and focus, please do not confuse your teams with this. Only focus on the indicators that work. And then, like I said, enable teams, meaning shared intelligence. If there's a great guy in the room, if he really is a great guy, right? Tell him, if you're really a great guy, I want to see you grow 3 people to be like you. Meaning, if you're on leave, if you close 4 sales a day, right? Averagely, meaning in 5 working days, you're going to give me 20 sales. If you really want me to call you a great guy, you have to build people that when you're on your leave, they can actually close 20 sales in a week. That's how I call you a great guy. Because most organizations, what they do basically is, oh, there's this guy who closes good deals and he's all over the place. They announce him internally, a lot of incentives. It just revolves around him and that's it. No, I will say it and I'll say it again. If you actually ahead, if you have a subordinate that's like that, if you really want to recognize him, his recognition should come when he has built someone or people that can do the same thing. And then the team is strong, right? So shared intelligence is something you should start doing critically. Now, like I said, growth comes from systems and not heroics, not nice people who have good content. No, it's from a system that works every day, even while people sleep. And this comes from trust, from partnerships, strategic partnerships, the 3 types of partnerships: strategic, intelligence, meaning the right insights, and execution with speed and clarity. This is how we're going to get growth now. And you will notice that this is what happens for every organization that's going to grow and what an organization that is growing. And reduce the noise, reduce your operating expenses, reduce your marketing spend, you reduce your customer acquisition costs, and then focus on revenue and scale. Thank you. So I'm open to some questions and we can look at it. So my take back, right, is people should go back and audit your system, right? I'll tell you, go and audit your system. Sit down. If you're a good person, go back to your system. Sit down critically, audit your system. Look at these driving factors and then pick where the problem is, build it. If the cracks are there, seal it up, and then we are good for the year. Thank you. So I'm open to questions.
I have a question. Good day, Nsikak.
Oh, good day.
So I have 2 questions. What I want to ask is, first of all, you said we should stop tracking total leads, email opens and activity logged, and start tracking qualified pipelines and engaged accounts and all those ones. The question there is that how do we track qualified pipelines if you don't track total leads? If you don't track this total leads, email opens, don't we have to track those ones to us too before we track the qualified pipelines? That's my number 1 question. Then number 2, you said something on, for you to know that you are, is it great in the team, that you have to train people. Is it wise to pass on your knowledge? Is it total knowledge to a subordinate? What if the organization, they later sack you, or they dispense you, or which English will I use now? So those are my 2 questions.
Thanks. That's a very great question. So I like the second one because somebody asked me this question.
That's very,
Because
very necessary.
very important, right? It's very cool. I hear that a lot. So let me start with that because it's very interesting. And somebody will ask me this lately. I have a belief system, right? If you're great, right? When people say, "Oh, in case the organization disperses you" and all of that, I don't think knowledge can be stolen. Last I checked, right? And if I teach a team, my teams, right, what it is, and the system is working, I think that should be a plus for you, though, right? Because it's a value, right? If you are holding on to this and hoping the organization is going to keep you longer, I don't think that is even growth on your side. My thoughts, and that's what I still tell folks. I don't think that is growth on your side. You need to build people. I have built so many teams. Like, as a person, for me, I get bored, right? I get bored. I get a team done. We do some commercial, a lot of projects. The numbers are looking good. I get bored. I want to try something else, right? And then I want to see that, hey, you were making XYZ. You were making $10,000 when you left, and these folks have moved and they're making $20,000. That is how you find the real growth. Don't be scared that an organization is going to do away with you because you've taught people. I think that is basically what should count as your own growth, right? That, oh, I brought this system, I put this playbook, and that's it. It is a me thing. You will always find an organization. I don't need to prove to somebody if I'm good or not, right? I don't need to hold an information to make that. No, that's not my, that's my own thought. That's my school of thought. It will even help you as a person. If you're the only smart person in the room, it's a problem. You will work so much. Have you ever had a meeting where you're sitting down with folks and there's a day, let me give an example. You have that day is a crazy day for you, and then you show up and you're not in your 100%, right? And then you're not having a meeting, and then they're calling you because you couldn't come to work because they couldn't do this. You will be stressed out, you'll be burnt out faster. But guess what? If everybody's the smart person in the room, hey, if I'm not there, this is gonna get better. Forget whether they do away with you or not. You are great, you are great. Organizations exist. You see the commercial thing. I'll tell you for a fact, as a commercial person, you are sourced and needed than every other person in any company. That you see commercial roles, they exist every day. So don't be scared. There are a lot of jobs. People are actually sourcing for great people. They are sourcing. So don't worry. Teach these folks. Then for the other part of your question, when it comes to the leads. So tracking leads. When I say don't sit down on that and focus on qualified leads. I don't know if you've actually run a campaign and then they bring the data to you and somebody's counting the total number of folks who in fact, let me tell you how it works. We had 2 million views on Facebook, Instagram. The emails, we had 10,000 emails. Then you open some emails, right? What you see in emails? Are you people serious? Question mark. Stop. When will you come to this place? Like, joke of the century. That's what I call it. Are you serious right now? You see some data and you're like, whoa, I know you are, if you're actually the commercial man, you know that you've messed up, because when you see it and you're like, so out of, the way it works, they bring the data, you hear things like, so we had 10,000 emails and 2 views, and then the C level, your CEO is sitting down, it's like, oh, great. And he looks at it and it's like, oh, Joseph, with this, I believe you're going to raise $2 million, right? And you're like, oh, I believe so, yeah. And then they hand you the value and you're like, what? So you see the emails, you can't even, before you see 30 people, yeah, you ask yourself, is this what people handed over to me? And then you're tracking it. You already know you've messed up first. So you now have to start thinking of how to tell the company that they wasted their money, right? So when I say tracking, I mean, let there be a total filter. Sometimes these folks who just do this thing is just want to make activity. It's an activity game. I don't like activity. We're in a very harsh economy as we speak right now. We shouldn't focus on that. We should focus on, if I'm speaking to this person, this prospect, this prospect has a 67% already. I just need to put some together, right? Don't waste your time and do many demos. Leave this demo thing. Don't waste your time. You will burn out. Let it be someone, a company that is at the point of need for the value you actually give out is the company you should focus on. The person who is at the point of need. Let me give an example. I'm in the telecom space, so I can tell you. So let me give a very round example. There's a mini estate ongoing, and they're actually having the foundation level, right? And then your guys come, oh, this is estate, we want to provide internet, and you're like, oh, good. And then they give you the contact of the person. There's putting on your sheet. You have the Joseph Apartments ongoing on your sheet. January, Joseph Apartments. We're going to provide internet to the occupants are 30 occupants. We are expecting 30 people from Joseph Apartments, and they don't build the house is not built till 3 years later. How do you explain that? That's what people track. And then Joseph Apartment repeats on your sheet every time. Whereas there is an Ajayi Apartments that they are wiring the place, meaning they are doing finishing touches. That is the person you should be talking to at the time. I don't know if it makes sense. Focus on the folks who need your value at that time in January, not February, March. You resume then. That's for February, March. So leads will give, you see that's why leads, you see lead sheets. If you want to actually look at some lead sheets, sometimes you need to first of all go and have a good time before you look at it. Because somebody will give you a lead of 10 years and you'll be like, okay, 10 years, wow, nice. It was nice knowing you. So I should wait for 10 years before I get this revenue. Are you even being serious? That is what you see most of the time because they want to discord activity. Leave those folks. Ask for who needs my value January? Who needs my value February? Whoever needs it in March, please bring the person in February. Bring February leads now. Does it make sense? That's the exact thing to do right now. We are already in a harsh economy. It's not a time to waste. Every time counts. If your competitor is ahead of you building systems at work, you wake up one day and there's no job, right? So as a commercial person, please avoid those leads and vanity metrics. Please focus on potential. How they say, the real, what you ask. People that need your value now. The one that need it tomorrow, oh, you're nice. It was nice knowing you. Good lead, but I want to talk to those now. So if it's 3, it's 3. How can I make 3 6? How did I get these 3 leads that are potential for? How can I make it 6? If you channel your energy to that, it pays you better than looking at all these lead sheets. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the answer.
Right. Any other
I
questions?
have a quick question for you.
Oh, sure. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, please. All right. Thank you so much for this. It was really insightful. So, quick question. I currently work at a fintech company, and we
Okay.
primarily serve B2C market. So now we want to enter the B2B market, and I'm
Okay.
being given a trial because of my SDR experience, and really, I want to try this out. All right. So
Okay.
my question is, the only thing I've done so far is I've gotten a prospecting tool, and I want to focus on 2 target people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm targeting 2 sets of people, and I want to focus on cold calling. So, and the reason why I want to focus on this is I want to really qualify fast, and I want to move on quickly from it if it's not working. But aside from this, what else would you advise I put in place so that I can succeed in this?
So you are in the B2C and then you want to go into B2B, right?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So, and then your strategy for your B2B, you want to start off with cold calling.
Yes.
Okay, right. I will ask a question. Your target audience on the B2B side, are they within your perimeter coverage? Meaning, are you in Lagos? These folks, are they in Lagos?
Okay, it's a fintech company that's based in the UK, but
Okay.
we primarily serve Nigerians,
Yeah, the market.
freelancers. Exactly, yes, B2C customers. And we actually have like good, how do I put it? I mean, good feedbacks, good user base. In fact, we've built like 2 amazing communities. We get feedbacks from these users now and then. So from there, because of this, we decided they want to explore the B2B markets.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so just let me start something quickly and tell you something quickly. If you have a very great B2C feedback and all of that, I'll tell you something for free. Some of your B2C, well, some of the customers on your B2C funnel own companies, right?
Some of my what?
The customers you have as your B2C that you have successfully served and they're happy with you, I can tell you for a fact some of them own companies or work in companies.
Yes, they do.
Your strategy should be, how do I get those companies?
Okay, starting from the users, based on
Correct.
the partnership you just explained.
Leverage on them. Yes, it will save you better. Because when it comes to cold calling, trust me, there's some calls you will make and it's the reception that is picking the call. And they can be very nice. Oh yeah, you're very correct. Yeah, we will waste your time. I don't know if you had that experience before. Or you're calling somebody who is not a decision maker for what you're about to sell. If you have an existing customer base, that I'm giving you, like, if I was the one, I would sit down there. My first strategy is, how will I convert this? Because these folks who are happy, they work somewhere, right? They work in a company, or they know someone owns a company or something. So I will first of all start my strategy on how do I leverage on these folks to get to the B2B side. So B2C is actually you can drag an arrow from B2C to B2B, right? And draft strategies around that. And then your cold calling, the numbers or the database you have to make this cold call.
Yeah.
How did you get them? Are they randomly generated? Are they decision makers?
Yeah. So I currently use Prospero and the premium plan, and it allows me to get qualified numbers of actual decision makers. In fact, I've tried like 2 out, and they already want to speak with me. But the only reason why I've not followed up is because we just started, and then we are trying to put together our unique selling points that we want to, use to hook in these B2B customers, and that is still ongoing. Basically moving from features to packaging benefit together, because I am suggesting to them that we do this from a place of partnership.
Okay.
Right. So I want them to package like a partnership plan that I can sell to these guys.
Okay.
Not just telling them that move from your current provider to us, yada yada. I know that doesn't work, from my SDR experience.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm basically looking for an offer. So that is, let me say 85% assurance that the phone numbers I have are accurate.
Okay, so what it means is that your reach is actually the right folks. But where you need to work on is you need to get the value that will attract them. That's where you're trying to get, right?
Yes.
Because they already have someone serving them. You just want to get the value, what they need now, and then sell that to them. Is that what it is?
Yeah. But my question actually is, I want to focus on cold calling. Like, are there other things you would advise, based on your expertise that I can use to support in this, new role?
So over my years of experience in the B2B market, B2B is heavily built on relationships.
Okay.
And if you can have physical meetings, it will make sense. If you can have referrals that are doing introductions, correct. Somebody said that, get introductions, Elizabeth, correct. It is easier to close a B2B that way. You can have it. So someone told me something and said the average B2B cycle is 18 months. I'm like, 18 months. Am I going to pay an enterprise staff for 1 year and 6 months before I get the revenue? No. I said no. And they were like, no, these guys, they have internal meetings. I said, no. My operating expense and my revenue, that business is going to die, right?
Yeah.
So what I would advise is do a filter, right? Sit on it. How can you have these folks? How can you generate one-on-ones? How can you get introduction? This So most of these businesses have another business they work with, right?
Yeah.
They have another business they work with. Same way, how can
Yeah.
I use this business, if you have a relationship with that, right, to get through with this? What is my value added service to these folks that is going to reduce their operating expense? Find, these are things, so you have your list. So you are going to pick them company by company and do your homework. And then leverage on your homework, because you might find out that what works for company A, company B is not struggling with that. They are okay with what it is. So you need to find out what works for B, right? Does it make sense? And then push. Secondly, you said something about you've contacted them, but you don't want to go ahead because you've not gotten a distinctive sale, something about unique selling points.
The unique selling point, yeah.
So you need to hurry on that, right?
Yeah,
When
we're
you
working on
initiate that interest, if you don't hit it as a spot, you will reintroduce yourself again. So please jump on that, spend some more hours, get it done. It doesn't have to be very perfect. You just have to capture their interest.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you so
much. You're welcome. Someone else, I think there are so many hands up, if I'm correct. How do we take it one after the other? Okay, so maybe we'll just Titi, can you help me? We have to call folks one after the other, and then we take it.
Okay. So Anu first, Anu Luapon. She's asking, how do we get qualified pipeline from actual closing of the deal? It seems like steps are missing.
It seems like steps are missing. So qualified pipelines. So what I call qualified pipelines, like I said earlier, people that need my value right now. If you need it tomorrow, we'll meet tomorrow. Let's talk about today. So those are qualified pipelines. And you want to know how to do that. There's a lot of assignment around it, right? What are you offering today? What do they need today, right? Filter the noise. I think I was talking to one of the product guys in a company where he was asking me a question. He said, you know, this bots that you do ads, call to action situation. I was like, your call to action should be quickly, do you need my service now? Don't miss that. Find a way to infuse it. Stop this step-by-step user journey. We don't have that time. Call to action should quickly know if the person needs it now. People ask questions for next year. People ask questions for 6 months. People do window shopping. You do window shopping, right? So please try and make sure that there are folks, people you're talking to are people that need your service right now. The reason for this is to reduce the timeline you spend on these things and to avoid burnout for your teams. I don't know if that answers your question. Okay, thank you. All right. Next person.
Yes. Mohammed is asking, and he also has his hand raised. But what if B2C people are not in the position of decision makers? What do you do then?
So they don't need to be the decision maker, but they can be a funnel to the decision maker or to the location, right? Let me give you an example of what I was giving an example of one of the guys I trained some years ago. I said, you know that Joseph, okay, so you have someone. I was saying someone, I said, do you know that when you get to a place and somebody points somewhere to you, right? Especially when they point a place to you in a junction, they've saved you some time. They've saved you time before you start turning around, right? So the reason why we if you're driving and you stop and say, hey, sorry, does this road actually bend at the front? The map is telling you that go front to bend, but you say, sorry, does this road actually bend? Because you don't want to get there, right? Sorry, speaking for my folks in Nigeria. There's some roads you go and then you find out there's a fence there, right? So what I mean is, they really might not be the decision makers, but they are a faster step for you to get to the decision makers. So leverage on them and reduce the time, the cost, and you expect to do it on your own because they exist.
May I ask two other questions, please?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
So first question is, don't you sound like a pushy salesperson when you're looking to work with someone now? If you said an enterprise, doing enterprise deals is all about, or B2B is all about doing relationships.
Mhm.
Is it not going to take you time to build that relationship? Like, that's the whole purpose of it. That's question one. Question two, in my personal experience, there is not an enterprise deal that takes less than 18 months, especially an extremely significantly large deal. You're talking multi-million pound, multi-million naira. That is an 18-month cycle anywhere in any. So how can you push that aside or cut that down and say you're not going to pay the staff? If I'm paying my staff X amount, usually the profit I'm going to make on a multi-million naira, multi-million pound deal is significantly worth the investment. So how do you answer those two questions?
Nice, Mohammed. I like this question. So first off, yes, I'm a pushy salesperson. Everybody who knows me knows that, yeah, let's do business, right? Ask anybody that knows me will tell you the same thing. He doesn't have time to, when we are discussing business, please, let's get this thing done. And what you said is very critical because I've worked with so many organizations, international. I don't want to mention some names. I wanted to mention one because the experience got me to a point where in one of the major board meetings, I was like, you know, when you're trying to close the sale and then somebody says, oh, let's go have coffee. Coffee? I'm still talking. You're talking about coffee. Is the coffee more important than, well, let's get to where we are saying when will you pay? You're telling me coffee. And for me, I actually had breakfast before coming. Please leave coffee now. And because it is I don't want to use some words so it doesn't look like it's racist, but to them, it was coffee time. So yes, I am a pushy salesperson. And because of some companies have a lot of processes, that's why it takes this long time here. And you see the 18 months, 2 years. And if I'm paying my staff, I believe you can pay your staff for 18 months and he doesn't close the deal. Right? You can pay. So for me, yes, you said something about the relationship. The relationship is very critical to form. And that's why, because I know I don't have a very long time to get the relationship, I try to see who do you have a relationship with already that I can leverage on that person's relationship to get your own relationship. I do that a lot. I leverage you. There must be somebody that you trust. So let me give an example. You said something is critical. People do business with who they trust and have relationship. Good. Very perfect. It is possible for me to know Mohammed. Oh, he's a great guy. I know this guy. If I meet up with him at this, he goes to play golf, and I can meet him at the golf court, and I can build a relationship with Mohammed faster than I can build with Titi. But Titi already has a relationship with Mohammed that has been long-standing. I will go and build a relationship with Mohammed fast, and then take advantage of Mohammed's relationship I have to get to Titi. Because if I start Titi's own, it's a project. So I don't have time for that project. So how do I cut that long time? There was one deal. Let me give you a very good example. There was a particular stuff I was chasing one time. Like you said, multi-million-dollar. And we did like 5 demos. You know, demo can be annoying because every new day for demo, you feel like that's the day you're going to close it. That's how demo feels. Oh, the way they sounded, once we tell them, you are always very happy about the demo. And you've done 5 demos and you've gotten to the point where this invoice, what is going on? You've submitted invoice, they've asked for adjustments, you've submitted an invoice, adjustment. This deal was closed in a party. In a party. That shocks me every time in my career life. In a party. Just think about it. Because somebody was extremely excited, and I know he will be in that party, and I know he's excited, and from excitement, of course, what are we discussing about drink? We have to bring in business. That's why we are here. We need to pay bills. And in the process of excitement, he picks a call, calls someone and say, hey, I heard you are the one sitting. Oh, yes, because we needed to review it and understand why this in regards to, no, we don't have to do that. Just don't worry, let it go. Push it to accounting. Boom. Payment was paid, was made. I don't even get what I mean. So my thought to it is, first off, I am pushy. That's me. And as a salesperson, because of the ABC, always be closing, move to the next, always be closing. That's my own rule. The rule of ABC, sales for me is ABC, always be closing. I am a pushy salesperson. And secondly, I try to reduce that time. I just feel the lesser I reduce my 18 months, the more ROI for me. That's my own analogy to this whole thing, right? So paying a staff that, yes, you've done your calculation, it makes perfect sense, but you might still pay and the person doesn't close the deal. It's still probability. So the lesser you close the deal from that 18 months, you've reduced your risk and your costs. So that is how I see these things. I don't know if he answers your question, Mohammed.
No, we'll just have to
Yeah, I even
on that. I think my perspective is slightly different, but I appreciate your perspective. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Yeah, I would also add to that, for other people who are on the call. Mohammed's perspective, really beautiful perspective. Sounds like a founder's perspective, really nice. And very, very important. Especially when you're doing like very large deals, right? And public sector deals. You can't be doing, pushy public, nobody's gonna answer you, right? So there are certain deals that require that. However, as a salesperson, especially an enterprise salesperson, odds are already against you. Why? The companies that hired you are looking for ROI. Your ramp time has to be very fast. They're expecting you to ramp up something in your first 2-3 months, at least to solidify yourself. Now, what I like to tell my teams is, number one, look at your entire portfolio. You definitely have the short-term guys, the mid-term guys, the long-term guys. You can't be forming a relationship with everybody at the same time, right? You have to think about it from like a company's perspective. They need to start getting return on investment on you, right? A new salesperson that they've probably gotten new tools for, new salary structure, maybe a car, depending on where you work, right? And a bunch of things like that. So yes, there's going to be all of your deals cannot be deals where you're spending like super long time building. So on some day you want to balance it out, right? You have to have initial ones where you jump in and close, and you can't be afraid to feel pushy. And my own philosophy is, I won't first start my engagement with you and then pretend like I don't need something. I tell you straight up, see, this is what I need. And it's worked in many cases. Of course, it's not suitable for every case. There's certain case that you have to spend time, invest in that relationship, go through people. Sometimes they don't tell you stuff because they don't really know you. But when you know their friends, people that they've worked with some 10 years ago, people they've had friendships for like 5 years, they tell them stuff. Okay, you go in through people, you also buy, their loyalty, you do all that shenanigans. But it can't be for all your deals. Else you don't have a job in 1 year after you're in, because everybody keeps in a pipeline. Well, you're looking for one 500 million deal that has never landed. And unfortunately, it's not all of your deals that is going to close. You can spend good time chasing it. It does not mean that it is ever going to close. So you need to start increasing your probability of success. And that is being able to balance, being able to kick off conversations straight up. In my current job, my first year, all of my deals in my first year were instant conversations. It was in the second year that the relationship building started paying off. If I waited till those relationship building to pay, I won't have a job by the second year. Do you get that kind of thing? So it's extremely important to know,
So let me give a quick story. But what Mohammed said is, the thing is, we all in the leadership part have experienced what he's saying. So yes. But let me give you one story that happened some years ago. There was one time, one organization, they were chasing some big major deals. They flew the head of the business development. They flew him to Kenya, 5-star hotel, nice treatment. He came back for one conference. And then he came back with a lot of leads. I mean, that meeting was interesting. So when they're actually giving this, meeting. Oh, he came back with about 12 folks, 12 major multinationals, and it felt like, whoa. In fact, it was so detailed that he was putting the potential amount to close with this person is this amount. The potential, that's how it was looking like. And then everybody was excited in the room. And I looked at it, I was like, man, this is interesting, but okay, let's go ahead. It now became pipeline. I remember about 7 months down the lane, and the boss asked in the meeting, this is your pipeline, where are you laying it from? And where are you driving it to? We've flown you on 3 different times. You asked for nice tickets. You've gone, in fact, they gave club allowance to go to the club. They gave wardrobe allowance, and nothing has closed. So I remember at some point, one of the very funny things that happened was that somebody was just, side talk in the office. They're like, the guy said, what if this guy resign? I said, he cannot resign. No, he cannot resign. How will you resign? After all these things, you resign? No, you will not resign. It's a police case. You cannot resign. But that was early in the career, right? So I'm just saying, for things like this, there's something called low-hanging fruits. Leverage on them, low-hanging fruits. But mega deals, yes, it takes time. It takes really time. So yes, follow through. But as much as you're following through and building all of the relationship and the process, ensure also track your cost so that you're not, it's a risk at the end of the day, right? It might close, it might not close. So if it doesn't close, you've kind of reduced the risk and the investment in chasing that particular pipeline. So that's just how I see these things around it.
Thank you so much. And it's nice questions, nice conversation. It's really nice, healthy. So moving on to the next one. Okay, Elizabeth, that's a comment. Okay. So Nsikak Asuquo is asking, what is the solution you use for qualifying your decision-making contact?
What is the solution for?
What is the solution you use for qualifying your decision-making contact?
Oh, my decision making. So first off, clearly, what I said earlier. Do you need it now? Am I providing the value you need at the time? And for folks, there's something I tell folks when they get a job in commercial role. I tell them a salesman is a personality. It's not studied in school or like it's a personality. So you should have some level of commercial psychology in you to work, right? Is to be able to grow that a little bit. So I tell folks, if you've had 2 meetings, you should know if it's actually working or not. That's how it is for me. After 2 meetings, I can tell you if I'm wasting my time or I know it's a long-term thing I have to look at, right? So first of all, quantify the interest, the engagement from the folk, how serious it is, and try to lead the conversation. Lead the conversation. Remember, the customer has already done his or her own research. Always know that. What they're just looking for is the 30% conviction. So try to get that done and then move to invoice and payment. Your goal is pay me, right? Find a way around how can I tell you that thing that is you're waiting for to hear. Because if the person is someone who you are providing the value they need now, it's a need. They have a timeline. They have different folks they're talking to. They have other options. But what is that particular thing you need to hear? What is that particular thing I need to add that is going to make you pay me now over the other folks? So you need to find that out, and then that's it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I would also like to ask the question this way. Say it's SMB, market and not enterprise or mid-market. Okay. Same question, but for a smaller SME market,
I love the SME market, so they're like I love them. You know why? Decision is very fast. Don't stress yourself. It's not the other ones that you have to have too much demo. SME is easy. Look for the proprietor, look for the manager who's making decision. Have a good conversation. Go with your charisma. Sorry, that's just it for me. Why I love them is their turnaround time is shorter. That's just what I'm trying to say. So for those folks, it should be easier for me because every small business is in a particular stage, both in terms of what they have as you look at it and they're at a particular stage. Let me give an example. A company that is just starting, and then you're coming to demo a system or a software or a service that your subscription is way more than their revenue. You're telling it cost. I remember you're selling like a system or a software, and then their monthly subscription is you see things like $50, $70. FX already, you know very well that that person is going to be a customer for a short time, right? Or the person is not going to be a customer at all, right? So if you have to tailor it, bespoke it to the particular SME, and I think that's what it is. That's what I would do if I was in that situation. And the reach too is the same thing. If they're actually facing the same problem at that time, right? Because I'm speaking, maybe because I'm speaking from experience so far and some things that are just coming through my head. Once it is the SMEs, if they want to buy a software, they don't need to have too many conversations. They don't need demo. They will buy a software. Just go and show them, sir, your accounting system is broken. Money is leaking. Enter entry, this one, and that's it. Boom, get it done. If you show him or you tell him and you see him say, don't worry, don't stress it. He doesn't need an accounting system at that time. Find something else with the system that he needs. Look around the business and allow the person to introduce what he's doing and then find the problem there. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Olayiwola, you've had your hands raised for so long. I'm sure it's aching by now. He has two questions. Number one, how do you tell who utilize an existing solution and seems unwilling to build trust with you as a provider?
So it's breaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly. Can you hear me?
Hey, go ahead now.
Okay. So how do you, Olayiwola is asking, how do you sell to businesses who utilize an existing solution and seem unwilling to build trust with you as a provider? That's his first question.
Okay.
Second,
okay, go ahead, the second one.
What do you do when the contact which is meant to route in the path that would save you time is unwilling to share the information or refer you? That's gatekeepers. Okay. Those are his two questions. And you can also unmute or like if you want to speak. Since you're here on the call and
Thank you. So you actually shared the question. I think for now I would like to hear from Nsikak, right?
Yes, yeah. Okay, on the two questions. Okay. So the first question is, how do you move ahead with an organization that doesn't want to move from the existing system, right? And second question is, how do you go ahead too when the person is willing to share the decision maker? This is pretty much easy questions, right? And if a company is unwilling to move from an existing system, it means they don't have a problem with they are not the folks who have a problem, or they're not lacking on the value that you're bringing to the table. That's why it is. Sometimes when a system is working, they say don't break it. Some people have that traditional stuff. So if you are coming to sell something to someone who doesn't have a problem with it, they can have you as a nice to have, but you're not going to be a critical engine, right? And they don't have that problem at the time. So it's either they would adopt you over pressure as a failover, and you now start struggling with retention because they really don't have that problem. So I think you should move to the next, right? And my thought over it is there something their existing provider does that you are not doing? Or what value added service can I add to mine that reduces their cost of operation that will make them look towards my direction? Because it's working for them. And then if it is, let me now say something very critical and what works in many organizations, because we are in the masterclass and we're trying to be real here. We're discussing things that we are used to. As a salesperson, you will notice that some organizations that because something was introduced by a particular person, maybe the IT manager, right? Even if that system is consistently going down, he will not want to subscribe to something better because the IT manager has a relationship with the person who has that system. That's what you see most times. Let me just tell you, this is a real life situations, right? You find out that it is now based on relationship. For me, I've had that. If you're a salesperson, you must have encountered this. If your system cannot be a co-working system. Like, let me give you an example. Let me use one of a random example. I provide internet, and then you go to, oh, I have this internet I want to give to you, and because the other provider is your sister, you don't want to do that. Or you're in the banking sector, the account of the company, because my sister is the account manager, that way I cannot move the company account to you. You face all of these things either ways in this industry. Now, two things are involved. If I can provide this internet as your backup, because I know that this one I'm better, right? I will push for a backup to start up, right? And that will now be my, we can be your backup. I'll find a way to see if we can coexist with the competitor, right? Just to make a sale. And then from there, I prove myself to become the main character. That's what I will tell you, right? Because these things are what we will face. And most times it's like, just forget it. But no, find a way to coexist if it's possible. And then also, you can now prove yourself. Get into the platform, prove yourself, and that's it. And then for the other one, the second question is, if the person doesn't want to move ahead with giving you the contact, do you have a problem with the person? And is it a data protection issue? There should be some reason why the person is not ready to share contacts with you, right? I've seen something clearly. Sharing contacts is really built on relationship and trust, like we talked about. If I call Titi and say, hey, Titi, Titi, I'm doing this stuff. So do you have anybody that you can basically call that works in this space that can do stuff? I wouldn't have to waste time. I'll get Titi to tell me, I'm linking you up with this. She's done it before. I'm linking you up with this, and you guys can have a call, right? It is now a case of relationship. You have to build relationships. You can't burn bridges every time. As a salesperson, a relationship built is always going to foster more things in the future, right? So you need to find out what the problem is. It's like saying, if you ask me to share my CEO's number, I can't do that to you because that's a data breach, right? I can't do that to you. But what I can do for you, if I really want to help you, is that I can give you a channel to get to the company that will get the CEO's interest. So try and have the conversation more to know where the problem is from, right? If the person really, you're in good terms with the person, so the problem might be a data breach or all of that, but I can tell you, oh, put this presentation like this, send the email to this, the CEO will see it, and then we'll take it up from there. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
You're welcome.
Fashina, please check the in-app message. Sorry to stop.
Right. Do we have any other?
Okay. All right. So I think, yes. So we do have a last question, which is from Jane. I'm collaborating with an international company that tends to view Africa as a monolith. Oh my gosh, Nsikak, we were having this conversation earlier in January. And trying to convey that strategies need organization at the country level, not just the continental level. How can I communicate this effectively? This critical point while preserving a strong working partnership.
Okay, this question is very interesting, right? As Citi said, we talked about this. Hey, I don't know if we have foreigners here, but Africa is not a market. Please, I say this every time you meet me. Most times when I work with folks, when I travel, they make it look like Africa is just one market. Oh, the African market. Africa is 54 markets. It's not one market. So I struggled with this too early in my career. When I traveled, I worked with an international organization. I don't want to mention names, but very big boys in the industry. And because they did something in Kenya and they were breaking to the Nigerian market. They're like, this is the way. In fact, they did something in Congo it was a rural connectivity storm, one of those projects. And they're like, oh, this is how it's working. This is what it is. And I'm like, no, this is not how it works in Nigeria. And because these people have like great data analysts who went to the Ivy League schools, it's always difficult to explain to them, right? So you need to find a subtle way of explaining to them that on-ground execution differs. It's very difficult for these people to accept this. You have to know that in your career that, hey, they will not accept this, but I have to find a way to keep saying it, keep reiterating it, and then find an opportunity to execute one of my strategy that is local based. And when you do that localization, that local based strategy, and it works, you take it as a playbook and then tell them. That is what I did in my own time. I had to first off show something that was local based and it worked. And when we're in the boardroom in London, I was like, hey, look at it. You see why the numbers skyrocketed. What we're doing with you before with all your guys were not working. But look at it. And then it was like, okay, then man it. And that was how it was for me. So yes, they will not agree immediately, but you need to constantly remind them. I think a lot of them are beginning to understand that. And that's one thing about Microsoft I love. Microsoft is very heavy on partnership, local partnerships. And most companies are understanding that that is the right thing to do and they are going towards it. So you have to bring it up, find a way to put it in your slide, reiterate it, continue telling them, hey, Congo is not Côte d'Ivoire, Nigeria is not Ghana. Find a way to keep doing it and then find some opportunity to deliver that and then it will work. That's my one advice on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Even Nigeria is not one market because even within Nigeria and markets, the way Kano reacts to something is not the way Lagos reacts to it. Ibadan feels like have you seen people dragging Ibadan people on Twitter? You think they're Ghana or something, and it's within the same country, right? Zamfara doesn't behave like Ogun State people. So how much more, it's a conversation that will continue to be had. So we talk for like 2 hours about this, right? So Jane, I completely understand you. And even during our tech sales con in March last year, we had this same conversation where we're talking about remittance across 54 countries in Africa. So yes, it's a conversation we're going to continue to have and try to give them examples of companies, foreign companies like them, that understand this and have successfully used that knowledge to succeed, in Africa, right? So try to give them examples, show them like themselves. So these people came and they've decided to understand us the way we are, and then they've succeeded. So just try to show them and all of that, and keep trying to, pass the message in different ways, paint pictures, like Nsikak said, show them all of that. And this brings us to the end of today's session. This has been really interesting. There was almost no drop-offs to the end of the session, and that's amazing. If you want to link up with Nsikak, drops his LinkedIn profile. If you're joining us for the first time, TSP is a really fun community for professionals in the commercial space in tech. So if you're in sales, you're in marketing, you're in partnership, you're in business development, you are in anything that has to do with revenue, revenue operations, sales operations, whatever it is that has to do with revenue, money, commercials, driving business growth, this is home for you. We have a Slack channel where you get to meet people like yourself. I've known Ibuku for some time now. Koye, Praise, it's a really nice space where you get to meet people like yourselves, share, ask questions, share your thoughts, help out other people, contact people like this month on month, right? For different categories, mid-level, senior level, entry level. And we also have social media spaces. You can join the conversations. We post really interesting nuggets as well. This session is recorded and it's going to be shared on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Nsikak. This has been a really interesting session and a very good way to start the year. This is our first session for the year, by the way.
Thank you. So I will say something. You need to join this community so you can reduce your blood pressure, right?
I
so
know.
You can find a friend to complain about your targets. So it's a great community. Trust me. All right. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to this. This was very insightful. I like the engagements. Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. See you next month and in the community. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.